Welcome to Venice, California. In 1904, Abbott Kinney started this beach town, the ultimate beach town. And this venue we're in is called the Venice West. It's based on another venue in Venice called Venice West. The first thing you see when you walk in is the freak out hot spots map. Frank Zappa put this map out to show you where all the cool places, hipsters and hippies and post beatniks hung out in Los Angeles. Immediately you see a picture of Frank, who, by the way, had an act with Terry Kirkman from the association called Rent a Beatnik. This is all for promo for Suzy Williams' show called Venice Beats, where we'll engage you in music, poetry, and me telling you a spewage of history about Venice, California.
The dog trots freely in the street, and he's got his own dog life to live and to think about and to reflect upon. Touching and tasting and testing everything, investigating everything without benefit of perjury. A real realist with a real tale to tell and a real tale to tell it with.
Look at here, you've got Ornette Coleman, one of the great jazz players of all time, who used to play a plastic saxophone in Los Angeles at the May Company, being an elevator operator. Immediately you go to Tom Waits, who is probably the greatest street wino musician who ever made it big. Then you got Ricky Lee Jones, who started at what's called Abbott Kinney now, and it was the Comeback Inn. Diane Reeves, Billy Childs started there. Bingo, Bruno, our great cameraman, turns around and he gets the Venice West, which is 7 Dudley. Rob and Alan were smart when they named this venue and they put a "the" in front of Venice West. Venice West was the venue. You've got Earl Newman's poster there, art. It's loaded with history. Philomene Long, amazing people who changed what poetry did to people. You've got the Gas House. And you've got Big Daddy Nord, who invented what? Rat Fink and Crazy Cars. Now we go into this venue. You guys know, Rob wanted this venue to be a dive, and the architect made it look so nice. It's nice, right?
Yeah, it's nice. No white marble bar, bro.
Marble bar, come on. Okay, so we look right here. You've got Miles Davis, you got Paul Gonzalez, you got James Dean. Okay, Venice history is huge with James Dean. If you don't know, Rebel Without a Cause was shot down the street at Beyond Baroque by Nicholas Ray right here in Venice, California. You got Dirty Feet. This is the history of coffee houses in Los Angeles. You got Billie Holiday, and here you got Lullaby of Birdland. If you're not familiar, the proprietor of Sponto Gallery, his name was Mark Kornfeld, known as Sponto. That's pronto and spontaneous combined. They have the attitude that is about Venice. Now is the time. Be here now. You flip over to here and you got the Gas House poster by Earl Newman, one of the great artists of all time. Up here, you got the proto-hippie of all time, Eden Abez, or correctly mispronunciated because I got a good education, Eden Abe. He wrote a song called Nature Boy that Nat King Cole made famous, and everybody from Lady Gaga to Miles Davis to John Coltrane have done covers of it. Up at the top, you got all the beat classics. You got Jack Kerouac, who used to come to Venice West and read. And you got the Insomniac, which is a sister coffee house right here in Venice. Now we're going to go back through the bar. What are these guys' names? Your name, please.
Marcus.
Marcus, thank you for being here. And I already met you.
Lex.
Lex, and your name?
Lauren.
Good to meet you guys. We're going to be here celebrating. You got the Free Press there. You've got the Doors. They used to come to the Venice West. Okay? The Doors were born in Venice. Then you got Night Tide, one of the most important films ever shot in Venice by Curtis Harrington. And in this film is a woman called Cameron. Now, if you're familiar with L. Ron Hubbard or Jack Parsons, they both wanted to fuck Cameron and have a devil baby. Well, it didn't quite work, but they did indeed create history. You can watch Night Tide. It is an amazing experimental film. It's the first film that Dennis Hopper ever starred in. George, get over here. Is that Slim Gaylord up there? That's Big J McNeely right there. An amazing saxophonist right up there playing the piano. Okay, now you got some more Earl Newman posters. These are very important. You got John Coltrane, Miles Davis. And who's this on the bongo drums? Pull up really close there. Marlon Brando. Boy, was he a beat. Next to him on another bongo shot is Dennis Hopper. Okay, we got Charles Bukowski right there. Lots of stories are going to be heard on September 11th, right here, 2022, about the history of Venice with music and live poetry, music. Suzy Williams, Brad Kay, Kahlil Sabbagh, Carol Chaikin, all the best in town will be providing you with sounds. Let that guy in. If one of you guys could let that guy in, I appreciate it. Okay, so then we've got over here, you're going to zoom up and you'll see Robbie Robertson, Michael McClure, Bob Dylan, and Allen Ginsberg. How cool is that? Stuart Perkoff was the gentleman who first bought the building at 7 Dudley called Venice West. We're in the Venice West, and Stuart is very important. You'll learn more about him. Then you've got Jim Morrison, and here's a beautiful shot of Lex. Can we let? Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Now we've got inside Venice West. This was 7 Dudley, just off the boardwalk, and it was a coffee house where you rang a bell if you were ready to play your poem, or if you were ready to say your poem. And this venue, Venice West, was the name they called this venue, the Venice West, to keep the tradition. This tradition is very important. You're in Life magazine. Here's where it crosses over. When Life magazine starts talking about a literature movement called Beats, Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, then you get wannabes. And they become wannabes because they read it in Life magazine. They go, well, I can be a beat. That's when the word beatnik was invented, because these were kids who wanted to be beats. And and look at Todd right here, one of our great historians, Holy Barbarians, an important book by Lawrence Lipton. Really important. And this book, too, is very important. This one's called Venice West, The Beat Generation. These are the books that help kids realize, I can be a beat, too. And most of us learned it from watching a TV show called Dobie Gillis. And in Dobie Gillis, George, what was the guy's name?
Maynard G. Krebs.
Come on over here. I need prompts. Maynard G. Krebs. He would talk about working. Do you work hard, Todd, or do you hardly work?
Oh my!
Work!
That's a family issue. Dad,
That's a family issue.
Gerry Fialka, Venice's own Dick Cavett.
So anyways, but
my dad had an employment agency. I was working all the time.
You worked once.
And I decided the thing that I wanted to do when I grow up was not work.
Work, yeah!
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay, so thank you. That was beautiful, because Maynard G. Krebs taught us kids who wanted to be beats called beatniks
Joby
that
Gillis.
work was a bad word. But in fact, what we do in Venice is we play. Play
It's
is
true.
the important.
And
we work at playing.
Earl Newman was actually kind of an outsider among the crew
Oh.
because he had a wife and 2 daughters that he was supporting in his little studio where Small World Books is now. And he made a success of doing his silkscreen posters from equipment that he found at the gas house. And because of that, he was kind of an outsider because he had a successful business.
And that's the beauty, is when you go outside, once you know the inside, that you can transform the world and make it a better place. That's what we're all about. And Earl Newman's story is the funniest. One of his kids was born where Small World Books is, in the science fiction section.
On a sofa.
On a sofa. And there was no floor. It was sand. In this art gallery, right on the boardwalk. You can go to it, Small World Books. Okay, here's probably the most important one you're going to get in this whole array of big name dropping. I can drop some big names. Jesus. Jesus. Can I drop big names?
All right, beat that.
Okay, beat that. This is Wallace Berman. He really changed art, collage art. So important, he ended up on the cover of the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, the collage of all the important icons. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. Then you got the Beat Generation. You got Hollywood trying to cash in. You got William Burroughs. You got Ken Kesey. You've got this beautiful stage. We're going to be talking about the Cheetah Club. Aragon Ballroom, right on the boardwalk where Navy hits the boardwalk, had every major rock group ever played there. The Mothers of Invention played there. Frank Zappa. They did second line marching. Highly unusual in the history. One of the most important people who hung out at Sponto Gallery when it was Venice West was Lord Buckley. If you don't know Lord Buckley, you should, because he was, as Bob Dylan said, his biggest influence, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Robin Williams. It is endless who Lord Buckley influenced, and he hung out right here in Venice, California. I told you about Cameron. A slew of amazing women, including Cameron, were Philomene Long. And I can't read my handwriting there, but Ruth Weiss, there you go. George, step over here and tell us how important. Ruth Weiss was the first poet who said poetry, recited poetry with live jazz music, even though Kenneth Rexroth takes the credit. Ferlinghetti will be doing his song called Dog. Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg's, the big daddies of the beat movement, will be doing their song called Pull My Daisy. John Thomas, Leland Oslander shot amazing film footage. The list goes on and on. Art Pepper hung out at this venue. Jazz alto giant Taylor Mead hung out there. His first film, one of his first films was Tarzan and Jane Regained, sort of. This is one of Andy Warhol's first films in 1964, shot on a bridge that still exists right over here on the edge of Venice and Marina del Rey, the same bridge where Orson Welles shot a film called Touch of Evil with Marlene Dietrich, Charlton Heston. It's endless. We are transforming what existed. Wallace Berman, back to him, he said, art is love is God. And Mort Saul, the comedians, we cover the waterfront. Art, poetry, music, jazz, rock and roll, funk, avant-garde. Remember, Venice is sacred ground. Glenn Miller. Wait, Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller started as teenagers playing music in on the Venice piers. What's the name of that woman we didn't think she...
Sarah Bernhardt.
Sarah Bernhardt couldn't get her risque play done in Hollywood, so they said, do it in Venice. And she came here and did it in Venice. So I'll close out with Frankie Rios, one of the last poets who just passed in recent years, who read at Venice West. If you own nothing, then you've got nothing to lose, and you are free. Freedom is what Venice is all about. Frank Zappa said, and he's influenced everybody. What's the guy's name? What's the bass player's name?
Thundercat.
Thundercat. See, the cameraman's so young, he knows that. She knows who Thundercat is, right? Yeah, thumbs up. He's influenced by Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa says,
Thunder Lips.
yeah. Russ Myers appeared down the street at the Venice West. We'll drop names till the cows come home. So Frank Zappa says, nothing is what I want. So, and what's the Dylan line I'm supposed to recite? When you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. That's Bob ripping off Frankie Rios, one of the beats. So he knew to steal from the best. So please join us on September 11th, right here at the Venice West. And come here and support this venue who basically is telling you the history of our amazing beach town, Venice, California, on their walls. Good music, good food. Thank you very much. Don't miss September 11th. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, world. That photo is Eden Abe. It ends with a Z, Eden Abez, but it's pronounced Eden Abe, the first hippie ever. Right when the Beats were crossing over, Eden was homeless on the Venice boardwalk, ended up writing the greatest love song of all time, Nature Boy, with the line, the greatest lesson you'll ever learn is to love and be loved in return. This song made Nat King Cole's career, but it went on to be recorded by Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Lady Gaga. The list is endless. Google YouTube Nature Boy and study this song. One of our own, right here in Venice, wrote Nature Boy. Brian Chittister's making a whole documentary on Eden. Very important to love and be loved in return. Venice, California, the Venice West.
He sees are his reality, and the things he sees are bigger than himself. Drunks in doorways, moons on trees. The dog trots freely in the street, and the things he sees are smaller than himself. Fish on newsprint, ants in holes, chickens in underground windows, their heads a block away. Dog trots freely in the street, and the things he smells smell something like himself. The dog trots freely in the street, past puddles and babies, cats and cigars, pool rooms and policemen. He doesn't hate cops, he just has no use for them. He goes past them and past the dead cows hung up whole at the San Francisco meat market. He would rather eat a tender cow than a tough policeman, though either might do. power, but he's not afraid of Congressman Doyle. Although, what he hears is very depressing, very distressing, very absurd to a sad young dog like himself, to a serious dog like himself. But he's got his own free world to live in, his own fleas to eat. He will not be muzzled. Congressman Doyle is just another five-year hydrant to him. His own dog life to live and to think about and to reflect upon, touching and tasting and testing everything, investigating everything without benefit of perjury, a real realist with a real tale to tell and a real tale to tell it with, a real live barking democratic dog, engaged in real free enterprise, with something to say about ontology and something to say about reality and how to see it and how to hear it. Head cocked sideways at street corners as he's just about to have his picture taken for Victor Records. Listening for his master's voice and looking like a living question mark into the great gramophone of hidden existence with its wondrous hollow horn, which always seems just about to spout forth some victorious answer to everything.